My wife said, "Stop trying to be romantic. It is pathetic." After I spent 3 hours cooking our anniversary dinner, I set down the wine and started blowing out every candle, one by one. Sarah called me crying at 2 a.m. 3 months later. "Please, Michael. I made a terrible mistake. I need you back. I cannot afford this without you." So I am Michael, 34 years old, married to Sarah, who is 31 for 5 years. She makes about $54,000 in marketing. I make $135,000 as a financial analyst. We live in a nice house in a decent suburb that I put the $95,000 down payment on. Last month was our 5th anniversary. I wanted to make it special since we had been going through a rough patch. Took the day off work, went to 3 different stores to get everything perfect. Spent 3 hours making herb-crusted salmon, which is her favorite, roasted asparagus, with garlic homemade chocolate souffle that took forever to get right. Got a bottle of that Pinot Noir. She loves that, costs $80. Set up maybe 30 candles throughout the dining room, got fresh white roses from the farmer's market. The whole room looked like something from a romance novel. I was genuinely excited. Thought maybe this would help us reconnect, you know. Sarah walks in around 7 p.m. with her sister Jessica and best friend Amanda. They were supposed to just drop by quickly before girls' night. I am putting the final touches on the table, lighting the last few candles, when I hear Sarah's laugh from the doorway. "Oh my God, Michael. Stop trying to be romantic. It is pathetic. You look desperate." The room went dead silent. Jessica's face went white, and she actually whispered Sarah like she couldn't believe what she had heard. Amanda wouldn't even look at me, just found something fascinating about her shoes, but something just broke in me during those 30 seconds. 5 years of marriage. And this is how she talks to me in front of people. "What are you doing?" Sarah asks, as I start methodically blowing out every single candle. "Stopping," I said, my voice weirdly calm as I gathered up the roses. "You just taught me something valuable. Romance is pathetic when it is one-sided, so I am done being pathetic." I walked right past all 3 of them, tossed the roses directly in the kitchen trash, and pulled out my phone. "We can eat like roommates from now on. Tony's Pizza or that Chinese place." Her face went through like 5 different expressions. Confusion, then annoyance, then this weird panic when she realized I wasn't playing whatever game she thought this was. She expected me to grovel, apologize, maybe get defensive. Instead, I had just stopped. Jessica grabbed her purse. "We should go." Amanda was already halfway to the door. After they left, Sarah tried the damage control routine. "Baby, I had such a stressful day at work. You know how I get when I am overwhelmed. I didn't mean it like that." "How did you mean it then?" You were being a lot. It felt like pressure." "Pressure to what?" "Acknowledge that your husband loves you." She couldn't answer that. I ordered pizza and ate it in the living room while she sat in the kitchen staring at the elaborate meal getting cold. Update 1: You guys blew up my messages asking for updates. Buckle up because it has been a wild month. Here is what Sarah didn't know about the man she just humiliated. I am literally a financial analyst specializing in forensic accounting. I track money flows, build fraud cases, and document everything for federal audits. It is my job to spot patterns and build bulletproof cases with data. I have been tracking our household finances for years, not out of suspicion, but because I am literally wired to organize data. Every receipt saved, every expense categorized, every transaction logged. I have spreadsheets that would make a divorce attorney weep with joy. The numbers painted a crystal clear picture. I pay 81% of our shared expenses, which comes to $127,000 over 5 years. Sarah contributes 19%, which is $29,000 over 5 years. I have spent $52,400 on romantic gestures like flowers, surprise dates, weekend trips, jewelry, concerts. Sarah's romantic contributions over 5 years comes to exactly $0.00. After anniversary night, I went full operation roommate. Every shared expense gets split exactly 50-50. Documented in a shared Google Sheet with Venmo requests sent immediately. Week 1 was fascinating to watch. Sarah actually seemed relieved. I heard her on the phone with her mom. "He is finally chilling out and giving me some breathing room. It is so much better this way, Mom. Like, I can just exist without constantly being, I don't know, pursued." She said this loud enough for me to hear from the kitchen. Probably wanted me to react. Week 2 is when reality started creeping in. Her car needed $380 in brake work, something I would have automatically handled before. "Babe, can you help with the car?" she asked. I would suggest setting up a payment plan with the shop. They usually do 0% financing. Her face was confused. "But you always handle car stuff." I handled car stuff when we were a team. Roommates handle their own transportation. When she mentioned wanting to try that new steakhouse downtown, I asked if they took separate checks before making reservations. When she needed new work clothes, I didn't offer to take her shopping like I used to. Week 3 brought the complaints. "You used to ask how my presentation went. You don't tell me I look nice anymore. Are you planning to stay mad forever?" I am not mad, Sarah. I am just not pathetic anymore. There is a big difference. What is that supposed to mean? It means I am not going to beg for affection from someone who finds my affection pathetic. The woman who had gotten comfortable living off someone else's income was suddenly discovering what $54,000 actually covers after taxes and her personal expenses. Turns out, not much when you are used to a lifestyle subsidized by someone making 2.5 times more. But here is where it got interesting. I started understanding Sarah's psychology better. Her dad walked out when she was 12, left her mom with 3 jobs and food stamps. Sarah used to tell me stories about wearing the same shoes until they fell apart, about pretending she wasn't hungry at school because there wasn't money for lunch. Maybe that is why she got so comfortable letting me handle everything financial. Maybe she was terrified of depending on someone who might leave. So she kept me at arm's length emotionally while enjoying the security I provided. Understanding it doesn't excuse 5 years of taking me for granted, but it explained the pattern. Update 2. The mask didn't just slip. It got ripped off and stomped on. This started when Sarah's coworker Emma reached out through Instagram. We had hung out as couples before, and Emma always seemed cool. Turns out she was doing me a solid. "Hey Michael, I hope this isn't weird, but I thought you should know what Sarah's been saying at work about your situation." Apparently Sarah had been painting a very different picture at the office. According to Sarah's version, I was financially abusing her by suddenly demanding she pay half of everything, and I was withholding affection and intimacy as punishment because she had asked for a little space in the relationship. Emma had been listening to this for weeks and finally couldn't take it. "I have seen how you guys are together. I have watched you pick up every single dinner check for years. I have seen Sarah Venmo request you for everything from coffee to groceries, and I have never once seen her plan something special for you, or even acknowledge the things you do." She continued, "Everyone at her office thinks you are some controlling psycho who is punishing his wife for speaking up." I couldn't stay quiet anymore. That is when I realized Sarah wasn't just ungrateful. She was actively rewriting our relationship history to make herself the victim of my suddenly reasonable expectations. So I did what any good forensic analyst does when presented with fraudulent claims. I built a comprehensive case. Thursday night, Sarah came home with her serious face on. "Michael, we need to talk. This has gone on long enough." She sat down at the kitchen table like she was about to conduct an intervention, clearly expected me to cave under pressure, apologize for my childish behavior, and return to our previous dynamic where I did everything, while she contributed nothing. Instead, I pulled out my laptop and opened the financial analysis I had prepared. "You are absolutely right, Sarah. We do need to talk. Let me show you some numbers." Her face immediately shifted. "I don't want to see your stupid spreadsheets. These aren't stupid spreadsheets. This is 5 years of our financial partnership documented with the same precision I use for federal fraud cases." I turned the screen toward her and walked through the data. Monthly expense breakdowns showing exactly who paid for what. Every romantic gesture I had made, documented with specific dates, locations, and costs. Her contributions versus mine across every category: household expenses, entertainment, gifts, travel, everything. In the past year alone, I spent $8,400 on romantic gestures, date nights at nice restaurants, surprise weekend trips, flowers delivered to your office, jewelry for your birthday concert tickets, that spa day for your promotion. $8,400 of my income dedicated to making you feel special and appreciated. Sarah was staring at the screen, her face getting redder by the second. "Now, Sarah, I want you to think carefully and answer this question. When was the last time you did something romantic for me? When was the last time you surprised me with anything? When was the last time you made me feel special or appreciated? The silence that followed was deafening because we both knew the honest answer was never. Not once in 5 years. I show love differently. She finally exploded, but her voice cracked. How exactly do you show love, Sarah? By accepting everything I do for you without any reciprocation whatsoever. By criticizing the way I express love while offering absolutely nothing in return. You are being ridiculous. You cannot just assign dollar amounts to love. You are right, love isn't transactional, but effort is measurable, care is demonstrable, and according to this data, I have been in a one-person relationship for 5 years. I click to the next slide. Those romantic gestures you called pathetic in front of your friends. The ones that apparently made me look desperate. I have spent more money on making you feel loved than most people spend on a car. Stop it, she said, but her voice was getting shaky. How much have you spent making me feel loved in the same time period, Sarah? She couldn't answer because the number was 0, and we both knew it. You know what is actually pathetic, I continued. Calling someone desperate for loving you while contributing absolutely nothing to the relationship except criticism. That is when she completely lost it. Fine, she screamed, standing up so fast her chair fell over. You want the truth? Sometimes your romantic bullshit made me feel suffocated. It felt desperate and needy, like you couldn't exist without constant validation from me. So you felt suffocated by being loved. I said, my voice still calm. Got it. I felt suffocated by being needed so much. It was too much pressure. Love without need is just friendship with benefits. Sarah, but I think I understand what you actually wanted. You wanted to be desired without having to desire me back. You wanted all the benefits of being loved, the financial security, the romantic gestures, the emotional support, without any of the responsibility of loving someone in return. She opened her mouth to argue, but nothing came out. You wanted a sugar daddy, not a husband. The look on her face told me I would hit the nail on the head. Final update: the ending to this saga was way more explosive than I expected. Grab some popcorn. After our big confrontation, Sarah went into full manipulation mode. First came the love bombing. Elaborate dinners she cooked that I still had to Venmo her half the grocery costs for. Then sudden interest in my hobbies, asking about work projects she had ignored for years. Even tried the sexy lingerie routine one night, appearing in the bedroom doorway like she was auditioning for a movie. But I was completely done. The man who used to desperately seek her approval was gone, replaced by someone who finally understood his worth. The breaking point came last Tuesday. I got home around 6 p.m. to find Sarah in the kitchen, having what can only be described as a complete psychological breakdown. Papers everywhere. Bank statements, credit card bills, rental listings, calculator with numbers scribbled on napkins. She had been trying to figure out how to afford our current lifestyle on her $54,000 salary. When she saw me walk in, she absolutely lost her mind. You have ruined everything, she screamed, throwing papers at me. Do you have any idea what you have done to me? I cannot afford my car payment. I cannot afford my gym membership. I cannot afford my student loans. I cannot afford anything. Welcome to what $54,000 actually buys you, I said calmly, dodging a flying bank statement. I hate you. I hate that you made me depend on you. I hate that you trapped me in this house. I hate that I need you. And there it was. The truth she had been hiding from herself and everyone else. She didn't love me. She loved my bank account. She didn't miss the romance. She missed the financial cushion that came with it. You could have just been honest from the beginning, Sarah. You could have said, I appreciate what you provide, instead of calling it pathetic. She crumpled to the kitchen floor, crying hysterically. For about 30 seconds, I almost felt sorry for her. This was that scared 12-year-old girl whose father abandoned her, who watched her mother struggle to keep food on the table. I understood her fear of poverty, her need for security, but then she looked up at me with pure hatred in her eyes. You think you are so much better than me, don't you? Well, you are nothing without me. You are boring and pathetic and desperate, and nobody else will ever want you. You will come crawling back within 6 months. That is when I knew our marriage was truly over. Maybe you are right, I said quietly. But I would rather be alone than with someone who thinks loving them is pathetic. She moved out 2 days later. The divorce was surprisingly swift thanks to my meticulous documentation. I kept the house, my retirement accounts, and my self-respect. She got her car, personal belongings, and a harsh crash course in financial independence. My lawyer Patricia was impressed. Most people come to me with boxes of receipts and emotional stories. You came with a forensic analysis, made my job easy. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I got that 2 a.m. phone call, Michael. Sarah's voice was barely a whisper, thick with tears. Please. I made a terrible mistake. I need you back. I cannot afford this life without you. She was sobbing uncontrollably. My rent is $2,100 a month for a studio apartment. My credit cards are maxed out. I am eating ramen noodles for dinner. I am drowning, Michael. I am literally drowning. I am sorry you are struggling, Sarah, but that is not my problem anymore. But I love you, she wailed. I have always loved you. I was just scared. My therapist says I have abandonment issues from my dad leaving, and I pushed you away because I was terrified you had leave me anyway. No, Sarah, you loved what I provided for you. There is a significant difference. That is not true. I love you. If that were true, you never would have called loving you pathetic. You never would have humiliated me in front of your friends. You never would have spent 5 years taking everything I gave while giving nothing back. More hysterical sobbing, please. I will change. I will do better. I will be more romantic. I will pay for dates. I will. Sarah, stop. You had 5 years to figure this out. You didn't want to change when you had everything. You only want to change now that you have nothing. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Yes, you were. But being wrong doesn't entitle you to forgiveness. Being sorry doesn't erase 5 years of taking me for granted. I hung up and blocked her number. Today I am with Katie, who is 29 and works in tech and makes good money. On our first date, she grabbed the check before I could and said, I asked you out, so dinner's on me. On our third date, she brought me flowers, sunflowers, because she remembered I mentioned liking them. She tells me I look handsome and actually means it. She has never once expected me to subsidize her lifestyle or made me feel pathetic for showing affection.